The Department of Justice just published an advanced copy of its final rule regarding website and mobile app accessibility for state and local governments. Now, this is for Title II, but website owners will want to pay especially close attention because we are very likely to see similar requirements carry over when there is an update to Title III. On the screen with me, I have the key bullet points from this final rule. So let's go over them now. First of all, we have the adoption of the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines version 2.1. The rule requires that public entities conform with WCAG 2.1 AA. This has been a best practice that I have talked about for years, but now we see it finally become a formal requirement. The third bullet point is public entities with a population of 50,000 or more must ensure conformance for their websites, web content, and mobile apps by 2 years after the rule is published. And then public entities with a population of 50,000 or less have 3 years. The same will apply for special district governments. They will have 3 years. Note the timeline here. We are likely to see a similar timeline carry over for private entities of different sizes. And then we have 5 exceptions for WCAG 2.1 AA conformance. So those exceptions are archived web content. So think of older record keeping documents or research documents. Those don't need to be brought into conformance. Pre-existing electronic documents, so PDFs, PowerPoints, spreadsheets, unless such documents are currently active and being used. But just think, if you have a pre-existing electronic document before the deadline, then that would be an exception for conformance. Also, content posted by a third party, unless that third party is contracted. So if you have a marketing company who is posting content on your behalf and you've hired this marketing company, that would not be an exception. An exception would be more like if a town member posted content on social media, then that would be an exception. And then we have conventional electronic documents that are for a specific individual or for their property. That would be an exception. And then pre-existing social media posts. So the pre-existing theme is carried throughout here. If something has already been posted before the deadline, then that would fall under an exception. And then the last 3 bullet points here are unless there is a specific request from an individual, and at that point, the public entity may have to provide that content in an accessible format, but that would be for a specific request. And then also conformance with WCAG 2.1 AA is not required to the extent in which the conformance would result in a fundamental alteration in the nature of the service, program, or activity, or in an undue financial or administrative burden. And then the last bullet point I have here is a public entity will be deemed to have satisfied its obligations in the limited circumstance in which the entity can demonstrate that nonconformance would have such a minimal impact on access that it would not affect the ability of individuals to use a public entity's web content or mobile app, etc. All right, so these are the requirements. I'm going to be posting more videos on my thoughts on these various requirements, but it's important to understand that this is extremely significant. This is very impactful, where everyone is going to be looking towards WCAG 2.1 AA conformance. So you really need to learn about the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And as a website owner, especially if you are on a budget, you should start with this now. You should start working on accessibility now. And there are multiple benefits to this, including the existing litigation that's going on. Of course, you want to preempt that litigation wherever possible. But we know that eventually there will be a Title III regulation. So it's better just to work on WCAG conformance now and spread out the costs. That's the beauty here. We have advance notice. We know what is coming down. As I've mentioned numerous times, I wrote this in my book. WCAG 2.1 AA is best practice. It has been best practice, and now we are seeing it become a formal requirement. So what I recommend is that you start now, because If you look through the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, you can see that they are quite involved, but you can start working towards conformance now and spread out the costs over time. So that is really the advantage to this. I have a lot more analysis, but again, I will save that for future videos. But for now, just know that we already have the final rule for Title II. This is very helpful that we have advance notice. If you are a state and local government, again, you want to work on this now, even though we see these deadlines of 2 years after the rule is published and then 3 years for smaller public entities. Just note that conformance can take a while. So you don't want to wait until a few months before. It's better to start now. This is going to help you defer the costs, and it's going to help you improve your existing accessibility. There are so many advantages, but I'm going to include links to several resources below, including a link to my WCAG course where you can learn about these technical standards and exactly what is required. So I will include those links in the description.